Welcome to today's guided practice session. My name is Adam Manis. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to work today. We're going to get to work on a very cool concept, and it's a really interesting thing, triad pairs. That's what we're working on, by the way, is triad pairs. And I can't wait to show you how maddeningly simple these things are, and then how deep the well of music goes for these great triad pairs. Before we get started, though, just a reminder that today's guided practice session is sponsored by Open Studio. We do courses at Open Studio. We do guided practice sessions every day. We do tons of live stuff. Go to openstudiojazz.com to check out all of our offerings today. It is incredible what we're able to do over there. So go check that out. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about something that I get asked about a lot, triad pairs. I think a lot of people are curious, what is a triad pair and how do I use it? Well, the good news for you is that if you're sitting here and you're playing your blues and you're doing your scales, maybe you're doing your blues scale. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But these little babies are ways to kind of get out of our typical scale running or blues scale running or whatever you want to call it, to a more modern angular sound, right? These are ways to really get us to the promised land of having that sort of Chick Corea style, even Keith Jarrett, even Brad Meldowy style. You can always mix in your scales and blues scales with these things, but they get us this really cool angular shape sound that I just love. Now, what I just played there, it sounded pretty modern and somewhat involved, right? Well, the good news is that everything I played there is based off of just two triads, and they're both major triads. That is what a triad pair is. It's literally, we pair up two triads and then they go consecutively. So here, we might pair up E flat and F. In fact, we will pair up E flat and F. But here we have just these two triads that we play in succession in different inversions. That's it. That's all it means to have triad pairs. The real question is what triads do I use over what chords? Like, how do I incorporate these pairs of things in a way that sounds good? Because they can sound very bad. Like all good things, there is a, not a right way and a wrong way, but there's a better way and a worse way. You know what I mean? So if we look at a very simple form, in fact, one of the most simple forms, but one of the deepest forms we possibly can look at, and that's a blues, we get some really easy ways to try different kinds of triad pairs over the same chord. Namely, it's a dominant chord, right? We can play an entire blues using nothing but dominant chords, as a matter of fact. And we will today. If we take just a couple of different kinds of triads, I'm going to find the right spot for this here in a minute, that we see here. I look like look like I'm trying to hide my face. So here we have three different kinds of dominant chords. We have an unaltered dominant, just a regular old dominant chord, right? Based off of the Mixolydian. All right, we'll do an F blues here. So this is like an F7. A Mixolydian, right? We have a major third, we have a dominant 7. Easy. The two triads that we can use for just a regular unaltered dominant are from the 7th, right? From that dominant 7, an E flat major, and a root triad, like an F major. We have an F7, so you can use F, you can use E flat. I started on E flat for a reason, because we're going to continue up with this similar shape. Once we go into inversions, it's kind of easier to think of the lower one first. That's not necessarily how we always have to do it when we improvise, but it helps to kind of start thinking about these in the same shape. So check that out. Probably heard this sound before. So here we have an F7 chord. I'm literally just playing like a root and shell, like root 7-3 in my left hand. And then just an E flat triad or an F triad. That is such an easy way to get this kind of, we'll call it a shapy sound, right? Because these are all based on the shapes. So that's our very first way to apply triad pairs over a dominant chord, and that's the most basic version of a dominant chord, just in F7. No bells and whistles, no frills at all. Now, the Lydian Dominant, that's our second kind of dominant chord, right? That's like the G7, sharp 11. In our F blues today, this is going to be the 2 chord. You hear this this alteration made a lot, right? Instead of G minor 7, you can use what we call the 5 of 5, and you can do a G7. You could do this G7, sharp 11. Now, the Lydian Dominant, you could use something based off of F. That sounds really great, actually. But an easier way to think about it here is the G triad, right? The rooted triad, so G major and A major. Again, just thinking about these in the same shapes as we do inversions. We'll get into inversions in a minute, but I just want to lay out here the important triads. Now check this one out here. I am just going to go full on fugitive here and cover my eyes. So check out the altered dominant shape. So here's our third different kind of dominant chord. Right? It's a C7 altered. For our F blues today, this is going to be our 5 chord. Again, we're getting out of just playing scales with these. We want to be able to do some quote-unquote shapy things. I'm not even going to quote-unquote that anymore. It's just shapy. We're making shapy things happen. So here we have our G-flat triad and our A-flat triad. An easy way you might remember this is that we have the major triad from a tritone away, right? G-flat is a tritone away from C, so we can use this and we can go up a whole step, the A-flat triad. Another way that you might possibly think of this is, check this out. We know, and we talk about this a lot around here at the guided practice session and a lot about Open Studio, that there's a relationship between an altered dominant and a Lydian dominant via a tritone, right? Because the C7 altered scale is the same notes as the G-flat 7 Lydian dominant scale, right? It's all based off of that D-flat melodic minor, the same exact notes. Our triad pairs would be the same if this was a G-flat sharp 11. See how it's G7 sharp 11 and it's G and it's A? If we took that down a half step, that's G-flat 7 sharp 11 and that's G-flat and A-flat. That's the same triad pairs that we use here on our altered dominant. Again, just to reiterate, there is a relationship between an altered dominant and the Lydian dominant from a tritone away. They use the same scale, and you could do the same shapes with them here. So that could be another way you think about it if you're a little bit more of an advanced player, to think about these as really based off of that D-flat melodic minor scale here. But what this means for our F blues is on our 2 chord, right, we have our G and our A, and then on our 5 chord, C7 altered, we can just take those down a half step. It's anything to make the computing power a little bit easier on our brains, at least on my brain, because I'm going to be honest with you, YouTube, I'm not as bright as I used to be. I'm getting older. Things are slowing down. I got to save my energy on the brain space. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's look at some of the inversions, because we're not just going to do that root position inversions. Before we check this out, though, if you dig this kind of stuff, if you like triad pairs and this kind of modern sound, smash that like button, because I need to know what kind of guided practice sessions to make for you. And yeah, just go ahead and give us a like right there. You know where it is. I mean, come on. Everybody asks for that, right? But I really mean it. Seriously. Okay, so let's check out our inversions here. This is our dominant, right? Just our unaltered meat and potatoes, basic Bubba dominant chord, F7. So what I want to do is start off, if you play piano, we can play these all together. This is important if you play piano, and it's really one of the advantages that we have playing piano. Check it out. We can do these all together, and what this does is this puts our hand over the shape. So when we go to make shapes out of this, there's no difference in how I move my hand if I'm playing these all together or if I'm breaking these up. And then there's all different kinds of ways to break it up. So once you have your hand over the right spot, you can break it up however the hell you want. Up, down, all around. I didn't mean to rhyme that. and then we're pairing them with each other. So for our F7, of course, we have E flat and F, and then we can just take this in each inversion of the triad, right? The triad inversions are one of the first things we learn. So we can literally just practice as pianists playing these all together. Now, if you're a horn player or a singer, try breaking these up going one direction. Starting on the root, see if you can hear and play. But as pianists, let's just work on getting these together all the way up and down in time and practicing these over an F7. You might add a basic F7 voicing here. I have just F, E flat, and A, right? The root, 7th, and 3rd. Let's just get these in our hands. We'll start with E flat. We'll go all the way up to E flat in the root position and back down. Ready? Play with me. 1, 2, 3, and. Let's do that again. Take a big deep breath here. Let's connect to our instrument. You might roll your shoulders forward and back. You might draw some circles with your nose. We're here to work, so we want to be comfortable. We want to be connected. We want to be solid and relaxed. Here we go. Try it again. 1, 2, 3, and you got it. Play with me. Let's do the same thing, but let's act as if we were horn players, and let's do our first version of breaking these up. So we'll just go very basic. Even if you're an advanced player, these are not too basic for you. Get over yourself. There's something to be learned at every level for these kind of rudimentary things. Let's try that. Up and up all the way. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Play with me here. Down. Do it again. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, let's do that again. Let's go one more time going up. This time, I want you to put a thought in your head. Hold on. I'm going to get kind of serious for a second here. Not really, but I want you to put a little bit of thought in here. Sometimes when we get to our instrument, we're learning new things, and especially if we don't have them at first, it can be a little stressful. I want you to think light and fun as you do this. This is actually scientifically proven to help us retain information. This is not just a trick to kind of get you to be in a good mood. This actually helps us learn. If we can have fun as we're doing it, this will help us lock it in. So take it as, first of all, I just want to have fun with this anyway, but also this is very helpful for actually learning what we're trying to learn. So as we go into this next round where we play these triads all broken up, think about what it means to play these light and fun. You might imagine that you are playing these with the most ridiculous, funny person that you know. Sometimes I think about that, and that helps me to remember that this is fun, that this is not meant to be a stressful exercise, that we can still have fun even as we're learning new things. So let's play this again, but what does it mean to play this light and fun? Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you might smile a little bit even, if you're the kind of person that smiles. Let's do it again. Let's go down this time. Let's take that shape down. 1, 2, 3, and light and fun too. Keep it bouncy. Like figuratively and literally. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Fun right there. So there's our F7. That is our tonic chord. That works for any F7 tonic chord. Like anything that you are using a dominant chord that is unaltered completely. What about our Lydian Dominant? This would be our 2 chord, right? Our G7 sharp 11. Let's work on these shapes going all the way up. Let's play them just like we did our other shape. Let's play them first all together if you're a pianist. You can start going up if you're a non-pianist or guitarist. If you're a single line instrument, you can break them up going up at first. But let's just try it here. Again, keep it light, keep it fun, maybe smile on the inside at the very least. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, and. Whew. Oh man, how beautiful are these? Do it again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And. I love this shape so much. Have fun with it. One more time, all together. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to get to a blues here in a little bit, an F blues. We're just kind of going over the basics before we get into it. So let's warm up on this. All right, let's break these up going up. And we're just going to, again, stay very, very simple. Again, you might shake it out a little bit, take a big deep breath as we get connected to the instrument, and keep it light and fun. Super important. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And. Keeping it fun. All right, let's do it again. Going up. 2, 3, and 4. And. Hey. All right, let's try going down with this shape. Again, we're thinking about, especially if you're a pianist, to think about the shape as a whole. And then we can turn our hand any way we want. So let's try going down. Right there. 2, 3, and 4. And. Beautiful. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And. So we have one more dominant chord, right? Remember, we're doing just a regular unaltered dominant. We're doing a Lydian dominant, like a dominant 7, sharp 11. And then we're also doing this. We're doing our altered dominant, another very important one. And the altered dominant, remember, we can think about it maybe easily as the major triad from a tritone away. So if we have C7 altered, we can think about it starting on G flat major, going to A flat. You might also think of it as the same as like a G flat Lydian dominant. Remember, there is a relationship between a dominant altered and a dominant Lydian that are a tritone away. It makes it kind of an easy bridge in our slow monkey minds to think about. So let's maybe do this. Well, let's do this all again. Just like we did our other ones, let's start with everything played together. Ready? Light and fun here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And. Whew, so nice. Two, 3, and. If you're a pianist, you might put like a C7 root and shell like I am underneath you, so you can hear everything. Okay, for this, let's alternate between breaking it up and down. So the G flats, let's play up, and the A flat triads, let's play down. So, yeah. Just like that. Play with me. 2, 3, and 4, and. Try it again. 2, 3, and 4, and. Remember, keep it light and fun, too. Improvise with this. We're not robots here. Again, serious moment, folks. We are not jazz robots. So even as I lay things out here in very neat notation, and I have my Mr. Metronome here, you do not have to be robotic about this. You can have fun with these exercises. You can really experiment and push yourself to try to create something new out of this. Let's do that one more time. Up. Actually, let's switch it up. Let's go down with the G flats and up with the A flats. Sound good? 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. One more time. 2, 3, and 4, and down, up. That's so cool. Okay, so that is the 3 basic dominant chords that we're going to be working with today. So we have our unaltered dominant, just a regular F7. We're playing an F blues, by the way. So that F7. By the way, we'll have another unaltered dominant, B flat 7, will be, of course, in the blues, the 4 chord, and we can use the same shapes, right? So we'd use A flat major triad to B flat major triad as that triad pair. We also have a little tritone sub, a B7, which we use well, I'll get into this later. But we're doing an F blues. We're doing our regular dominant, unaltered dominant F7. We're doing a Lydian dominant on the 2 chord, G7 sharp 11, where we're using G triad, G major, and A major. And then we're doing our C7 altered, where we're using G flat major and A flat major. All of these are very standard triad pairs over these very standard dominant 7th chords. So it's a great place to start. Now, let's also not be boring about this. Let's not just go, I really don't want to work on things that sound like this. Do you? I mean, does that sound good to anybody? No, that sounds terrible. It's a great way to get the shapes in our hands, but it is not a fun way to actually apply these concepts over a tune. What can we do? Well, we can start mixing up some shapes. I've got a little shape du jour there. It's my attempt at French. You're welcome. This is a shape that I think is one of the most used and handy shapes that you can hear with triad pairs. It's literally the triad pairs, again, not to get too serious, triad pairs sound great in groups of 4. So when you can not just do it in a group of 3, but see here I have this E flat triad. This is on our F7 chord, right? So I start at the top, I go down to the bottom, and then I make my way back up to the top, right? This is why we play these shapes all together if you're a pianist. Why you think about it as the shape, as the triad, and not just as some kind of melodic content, is because you can do that. And then for the next triad, we'll go down with the shape. So we have this combination of intervals happening here, right? So this is the shape du jour. Try that with me real quick. Just loop this and feel this. This next time, try going down with the F. Do the next triad down, starting on A. Now go back to the original here as written. This is the shape right here. I'll tell you what. This is where triad pairs really sing. This is what they're all about. They are not about... No. They're not about that. They are, however, about linking them up and doing them in shapes in interesting ways. So we're going to take that little shape du jour and we're going to play it over in F blues. Here's our F blues, finally. Okay, so we have our F7 chord, right? We're going to have that for 3 bars, and we're going to use our triad pairs. We are going to go here, check out how the triad pairs go up, and then go down, and go up, and then go down. We're going to use our shape du jour to start. So we're going to keep that shape over each bar. Start on the top note, go down, and the next triad pair, just go down. then keep that going. So here on our B7, this is like a little tritone sub going to B flat 7. This is also a great area for triad pairs. Are these little half step slides. So, and then to B flat 7, of course. So that B7, we have A and B natural are our triad pairs. B flat 7, A flat, and B flat. Again, keeping that shape du jour. And then back to F. Then to G7 sharp 11. And then to our C7 altered dominant. And then to our F7. And then maybe a little C7 altered dominant again. This is where we're going to start. We're just going to use this as a jumping off point. I want you to do our little shape du jour, right? Where we're kind of taking these two triad pairs, right? Top note, bottom note, middle note, top note, and then the next triad down. Now that is a little exercise I can get behind. Let's try it. Let's play. I'm going to play it with you this first time so we can hear. We're going to do it right here. We're going to slow it down just a hair. Just a hair. That's good right there. So I'll play it with you here the first time, then I'm going to accompany you a little bit. Let's try it. Play with me. Again, keeping these triads that we have written, but doing our little shape du jour and really getting that shape and that rhythm in your hand. And through all of this, no matter what we're doing here, as we're practicing this, again, think light and fun. This does not have to be super stressful to be at your instrument and to be learning something that you maybe don't know very well or might be a little intimidating. This should be fun. And the more fun you have with this, the faster you're going to get it. I promise. Let's try it. We're going to go right here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Nice and light. Whew. Do it again. Here we go. Top. Isn't that fun? All right, let's do 2 more choruses. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to put a little, if you're a pianist, put a little voicing in your left hand. I'm going to play a little bass line for you. And if you start to feel like this shape du jour and the rhythm that accompanies it is a little too on the nose, is a little too boring, then I want you to start right now mixing it up. Now is when we get to have a lot of fun with what we're doing. So let's use this opportunity to spice it up a little bit, right? You can start improvising using these same shapes and using that triad pair. Here we go. I'm going to kind of do like a straight eighth thing. So I've been feeling like kind of a backbeat thing with this. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. triad pairs. They're not that difficult, but as you can see, there is a world opening up when they become more comfortable. So this little simple form that we have and these two little nuggets of notes put together, they are great fun. Great fun indeed. So let's do kind of an open play along. Again, if this is your jam, if you want to see me do more of these kinds of guided practice sessions, please hit that like button and let me know what you want to practice. And again, just a reminder that this is brought to you by Open Studio Jazz. Go to openstudiojazz.com and check out all of our courses that we have over there. There might be some New Year's deals going on. We'll see. So let's do one more play along, shall we? Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's go out on our F blues. Now, I want you to ignore all of the notation, all of the notes and the shapes on there. You can focus on two things, the chord changes and the triads below, right? So see how we have these E flat and F triads below? I want you to do these in any inversion you're feeling. And you can use our shape du jour, or you can use any shape that you're feeling. Sometimes just 4-note shapes where we have like the triad plus one other note is really, really handy. But just do what you want to do on this. This is really, I was talking about keeping this light and fun and how this helps lock it in. Let's see what we got here if we just let it all go and have fun with these. Just experiment, right? This is your time to explore. So I'll put some chords and some bass stuff down, and you just play through these triad plus ones. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got it. Triad pairs, everybody. They are like all good things. Very simple at first, very easy to understand, and just endless once we open up to them. So thank you so much for your practice today. I've had just a great time practicing with you. Have a great 2021, everybody. Until next time, happy practicing.